Good afternoon, everyone. So, welcome to you all. I am greeting you with our yet again another Friday broadcast where we are going to be talking with Julie Mann about surviving the menopause, about challenges, about all the things that come with this interesting period of woman's life. And I'm not so there yet at all, actually, but I have a lot of friends who are in the stage of menopause, or they just kind of approaching it. And why not? I mean, it is something that is going to hit us all and many of my friends in some point. And so I'm curious, and in a little moment I'm going to greet Julie, who is going to share not only theoretically but also practically about how she went through this periods, through this stage of her life. So if you have any questions on Julie, or anything you would like to ask her, you can already send in comments or send me in a private message. Anything that can be included, we will very gladly kind of make this being interactive a little live. I always like it when it's when we can be interactive, so please let us know your comments or your questions. And in the meantime, let us know, while I'm waiting for Julie to come in, which I believe is going to happen any moment soon. Let me know where you are joining us from. How was your week? How is your world? What's new in your world? I would love to see you on. Okay, Julie sent me a message that she can't see me on, and I'm going to use my little computer to reply to her. This is the beauty of us being live. Sometimes it's got a little delay, so maybe. Okay, I'm on. Just going to reply to her. It's the beauty of being live, that you can see all what's happening in the background. So yeah, menopause. It is, I remember, like, first time I came across menopause, it was of course when my mom was in that kind of age where she was kind of experiencing this. And I remember the hot flashes she was talking about, and all the kind of joys of unpredictability in terms of moods and everything that comes with it. But I never kind of paid enough attention. I always kind of thought, oh well, big deal. But then as I grew a little bit older and my friends started talking about it, friends who've been much closer to my age than I would like to admit, it was kind of more, it was becoming more real for me, because many of them had Julie's here with us. Hello, Julie. I can see you. So whatever we did before when we practiced, please hop on a camera. I sent you an invitation already. I can do it again, but you need to do whatever we did when we've been trying this. Okay, so please get on a camera, because here it says to me the guest declined my invitation. I know you didn't decline it, because I know you, as much as me, you are trying to desperately get in. But I need you to do whatever you did before getting yourself on the streaming yourself. Okay, in the meantime, I will be sending you invitations from my side as well. So yeah, I wanted to say that it became much more real maybe a couple of years ago, when some of my friends started having like real symptoms in terms of like moods, and in terms of really these uncomfortable hot flashes, and even like problems, like problems down there with ovaries, with womb, and many of them in this age had to kind of remove, had surgeries and remove them, which was kind of a bit surprising and a bit scary. And then I started hearing more and more of these stories of, you know, how challenging it is during the menopause. And of course, you know, like every woman is very, very different. Okay, Julie is saying, won't give me option to get in, keeps declining. This is the subject that I can't talk about on my own, so excuse me, guys. Okay, Julianne, keep on inviting. Okay, approve. Unable to add guest. Can be added to your broadcast while user is connecting. Oh, thank God for that. Okay, doesn't matter, you're lopsided, but you are here.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Julie, come this way, because it's really like, I don't think. Yeah, is it okay?
I'm the wrong way up still, but never mind. Never mind. At least I'm on. It's nice to see
for
you.
You are right way.
I am. I've got my head up against your shoulder. I'm on my side, but I'm actually the right way up.
We
really.
can see you. You can go a little bit further, or I will come like this, so we can be, we can be same size. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. Fine. I'm so happy you're here. I was like this. I was like praying while I was talking. Yeah. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And for all of you joining us and listening, or if you are watching us from the replay, this is my friend, my dear friend, Julie Mann, who is, I would introduce her as a habit fixer.
That's right.
And exactly what she does, she's helping women to find their mojo, and maybe find their mojo, as I understand, in this age of kind of a little bit, what do we call it? Mature age of queens.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, I'm nearly 66, so
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Julie, I can't wait to hear your story, but if you want to tell a little bit about you, just so we can relate to you, it would be wonderful.
Okay, so hello everybody. Great to be here, and I must say, Lucia, that actually I don't know how long my battery's going to last, so just so you know that. Yeah, I'm a habit fixer, because I believe that, you know, our lives are made up of a series of habits, and actually when we change our habits, we can actually change our life. So I love working with women who, you know, they're not all over 50, but, you know, a lot of them, and they really, really want to regain their mojo and age well. And I think that aging well and having a healthy, happy life is really all about mind, body and skin. So it's the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's pray for your battery. And I was joking with Julie, like, let's say all the important and interesting things at the beginning. So stay with us. We are on. Very briefly, my name is Lucia Hoxa. I'm fertility and relationship coach. I work, same as Julie, with women all over the world, and I have been doing this for the last 20 years. Love my work, and that's a little bit about me. Married, 2 little beautiful daughters, but most of you know me. For those of you who don't know me, this is me. And we are going to talk today about menopause, and about all the ups and downs, and maybe some funny bits as well, and challenging bits. But you know what I'm most excited about is to ask someone who actually went through all this, as Julie kindly visiting. So Julie, tell me how was it for you? How was it for you?
So I went through I started my menopause in my early 50s, and I'm now, as I say, nearly 66. So what I remember about it is, yes, the sort of change in temperature. I also noticed my skin thinning. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I was very emotional, and I really lacked confidence as well. And the other thing to know is that I wasn't just going through the menopause. I was actually going through a breakup as well. So my husband, who I've been married to for 15 years, suddenly said he wanted a divorce, which was not what I was expecting.
Oh, God.
So some of the symptoms that I was experiencing, you know, like the lack of confidence, you know, that also might have had something to do with the situation at the time, which was very, very challenging indeed. And if any of you have been through a breakup, you know that it comes with its challenges. But for me, I'm always one to look at solutions. You know, I think we can focus on the problem, we can complain about the problem, but I really think that we acknowledging the thing that perhaps isn't working in the way we want it to, and then looking at the solution we can find is the way to go. So I remember at the time, I was with an osteopath, not an osteopath, I was with a homeopath. And I remember thinking, I just need to get some HRT. It's really, really, really important. And she said to me, you know what? This is not, you haven't got an illness. There's nothing wrong with you. This is a natural part of getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And she recommended that I just, took some remedies and took things like, I think I was taking black, you can get black and blue cohosh. I was taking natural things at the time. And then I got through it that way. But really, what I did was surround myself with people who had either already been through menopause or, people who I trusted and weren't going to sit around complaining or looking at the problem, acknowledging it, but also support me in that. And I think that's really, really important. I think kindness is so, so important in life generally, but also when we're going through something like that, it is really important that we take care of ourselves and actually we send ourselves some kindness and compassion, because even though it's a normal thing, it is a big deal.
It is a big deal, and many people don't talk about it and don't kind of underestimate it, and they just kind of go, oh God, it's again, men mainly from reactions what I hear from other women who go through it, and it's shame, and it's probably one of why I brought this subject on, to talk about it openly and honestly, and just kind of and you mentioned an interesting thing about compassion, and I can see that there is yet another whole new level of compassion that you need to kind of establish with yourself. And also you mentioned confidence, and you mentioned that you were going through the menopause, and at the same time your husband decided to leave, and these two things combined in that kind of age, that was a really, I can imagine, like
double whammy,
the floor, it feels, when you said it to me years ago when we spoke first time, do you remember, when I listened to it, in my head there was a picture, like when they strip off the floor from your feet, like you've got, it must have felt like something like that.
Absolutely. And we had to carry on living in the same house till the house was sold and all of that as well. But I think the other thing to focus on really for me at the time was that there wasn't the help and the support around, really. Like 10 years later now, Davina McCall has made a program about it. She's written a book, and there's lots of people, I go onto LinkedIn, lots of people who are specializing in that. They're going into companies and educating people, and that's important. And I think it's really important that men have an understanding of what's happening, but that we take responsibility. And like I say, focus on what we can do rather than what we can't. Because when we focus on what we can't do, nothing changes. We just feel worse. And life is slipping by. And, moments are precious. So it's really, really important that we get what we need at the time we need it, when we realize we need it. So we can feel that little bit better.
Yeah. And Julie, tell me, because this can relate to menopause, this can relate to a lot of women who will be watching us, maybe going through some challenges. So when it hit you, when that day came, when you realized, because it came a little bit out of the blue, I guess, the news about your partner at the time, and you've been going through all this, how you've been able to, what helped you? You mentioned people, surrounding yourself with people, but what really, really helped you to get through all this?
I think, I've for years I've done a lot of mindset stuff. I think that's really, really important, so that I could build up my confidence. If I was feeling a lack of confidence in my body and thinking, what is this, I could at least kind of fill my mind with things that were uplifting and positive and actually really help the situation. I think that mindset is so important.
How was it in practice? Because everybody is talking about it, but what did you do actually? That's what I like to ask, like actual examples, when I feel like shit in a day, like I feel like crap, you know, and it's day like this, it's horrible outside, you know, how do you, you know, do this?
So stop listening to the stuff that makes you feel awful on the television or on the
In your
radio.
head,
Um,
mainly.
yeah, of course, that voice that's in our head. I think the important thing to remember is if we engage with that voice and we agree with it or we fight it, it will stay in place. But actually, when we just notice it almost like a passing cloud and let it go, then we can have a different experience. But I think that, you know, reading, you know, stuff that makes us feel good, surrounding ourselves with people who are not complaining, who are not, you know, there are a lot of people that, you know, it's not like I haven't complained, of course, but when we complain ongoingly, and we're in the company of people who do that and don't look for solutions, it doesn't feel good. And I think it's really our responsibility as human beings to do what we need to do to feel happy. That's our responsibility, not anyone else's. So,
and it sounds like cliche, and it's so like it's everywhere, right? But I think it only has got a value for us when we are able to experience and try it for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, because otherwise it's just this empty blah blah.
yeah,
You know, it's like, you know, a lot of people say to me, but I don't know how to do meditation, this yoga thing, and I know it's good for you and many people got a good experience, but
yeah,
I don't know, like I don't know how to do it right, la la la. But it's only when you actually sit and try to sit regular basis and, you know, meditate and just do it your way, and only then when you know, start feeling the advantages and what it does for you, you know, some benefits, that's when you start like, oh, okay, then you are able to start understanding that actually it is not just, it works.
it does. Yeah, and I guess it's about consistency, isn't it? In anything, it's like we can't try and do something and, you know, expect to be really good at it immediately. No, it's about consistent habits. It's about taking a step and then taking another step. It's about doing something on a regular basis till it becomes a habit. So get the habit of, you know, listening to stuff that's great podcasts, reading stuff that's uplifting. That's a habit. If you do that consistently, it will make a difference.
Mind, feeding your
Exactly.
soul.
It's like, you know, if you go to the gym one day, you're not going to have necessarily the kind of toned body that you want. It's going to take time. But I think as human beings, we just we struggle with consistency. So having, you know, someone we can be accountable to is really useful, like a friend, you know, going out with a friend jogging or whatever. You're both in it together, it makes a difference. So if we surround ourselves with other people who are also doing the same thing, it does help.
Yeah. Julie, what surprised you about menopause?
I experienced grief, actually. I wasn't expecting that.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, because you know, when I was having a period, you know, my periods were very heavy. They'd last about 7 or 8 days, maybe sometimes 10. And so, you know, there were times when I think, oh, I cannot wait to, you know, till that stops. But actually, that irregularity, and then of course it's stopping completely, for me really brought up a whole lot of stuff around grief. And even though I didn't want any more children, and I didn't want to have another period, there was this sense of loss. And I think maybe that happens in life as we get older, that sense of the letting go, you know, that when the children grow up and, you know, and all those sort of things, it is in a way a series of letting go of things till the day we die. And it was about, for me, letting go of that, and it was quite a big deal, actually, you know.
That actually I'm listening to and it moves me, because I guess getting through menopause, you maybe for the first time you are admitting to yourself that certain things in life will never happen again.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's childbearing, that's, you know, I don't know, like certain things will never come back, and they and so it is about grieving, and it is about letting go. How what again, what helped you in this process?
I think it helped to acknowledge it and then just be gentle and kind with myself. And that's not something that I'd spent many years doing, you know. I spent a lot of my life feeling like I wasn't enough, and you know, so I was very unkind, and I think probably all of us can relate to, you know, like you were talking about, that voice in your head that says nasty things that we wouldn't dream of saying to a friend, but we say it to ourselves.
Or it never speak to me again.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, kindness is really, and compassion is really key, because it is a transition period. It's not the end of life, and sometimes it might feel a bit like that some days, but actually, you know, it's the beginning of another phase.
Yes.
The crone phase, which sounds like an old witch, but you know, there's so many great things about this stage of life that I'm in. And also, you know, there are times when I'm present to, I've got less life left than I had before the menopause, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Tell us about great things that about this stage that you are in.
Great things about now, do you mean?
About now, about, you know, after menopause, something that we can, you know, look forward to.
Yeah, I think that although at the time it was a shocking thing, my husband asking for a divorce. I mean, it's not like things were perfect before, not that I think perfect even exists, but you know, there are things that I had to do, like going to court, which I didn't expect, because he contested the settlement, even though it'd been made, he wanted some money back. You know, there are all sorts of things. I had to go and represent myself, and things that I did that I never thought I was capable of doing. But I guess that's the thing, when we're faced with a situation where we've just got to get through it and overcome it and step around that obstacle and find a way, it's extraordinary who we become in the process. And I think, even though it was upsetting at the time, clearly I wasn't meant to be married to that man. That was a phase of my life that I went through, and I don't believe in regrets. You know, I think, you know, things happen for a reason, we meet people for a reason, you know, and it's really about acknowledging that, and yeah, having compassion for ourselves, but also trusting that we will find the resources to overcome even the most traumatic thing that, you know, some people who are watching may have experienced that I haven't. You know, we have extraordinary resilience, actually. When we can trust ourselves, we also start to become more of the person that we really are. And I think that's what I've got. It's a long answer to your question, but I think that's perfect. Got more than anything is that I've realized it's okay to be me. You know, I grew up as, you know, I've been an actor for over 40 years, and that I still do some of that. And so I've been paid to be someone else for a long time. And for a lot of my life, I thought I should be someone else because I wasn't enough. But actually, what I got through the process of grieving and going through that situation with my husband, going through menopause, focusing on the positive, you know, sending myself kindness and getting the things that I need, I've grown into the person that I have always wanted to be. It's not like there isn't more room for growth. Of course, I think till the moment we die, there's room for growth, and I'm right up for that. But actually, I am happy with who I am, rather than thinking I should be someone else. And I think that all those things that I went through, that we just talked a little bit about, you know, combined, gave me the opportunity to grow into me, really.
Yes. That's really perfect. Like, I always have this vision of kind of me being this older lady one day when it comes to it, and two things always comes to my mind: being graceful, you know, that there is a wisdom around the queens in this age that you are in, and also this, you know, sense of humor. And that's you know, and I love it. Once when I was speaking, I love, since I was a child, I love to talk to older and elderly people, because they have a lot to, you know, pass on, and if you're willing to have an ear for it, they're always happy to share. And I always been asking a lot of questions. And I remember once this older lady that she said to me, well, similar to you actually, she said, well, there is nothing to pretend anymore. Like, I've got the wrinkles, I've got a white hair, I've got, you know, you can patch it up a little bit, but actually I got to the point where I don't need to, I just own it. And because I, you know, that's it, that's me, and that full acceptance of yourself, um you know, I can you know, be graceful and hilarious at the same time, you know, with myself and others. And it's wonderful because really when you're around her, she gives you complete permission to be you, because she's being her fully.
Brilliant. Oh my goodness, it's a gift, isn't it? I think I
Mm,
love what you said, Lucia, about humor though, because
mm,
I think, you
yeah,
know, without a sense of
no,
humor, life can be very mundane. And actually, laughing for me and being silly is really, really important. And I always like to bring a sense of humor to my work, but I think it's essential. And I think what's really great is to have a practice, get into the habit of finding something to laugh at every single day, because laughing releases those endorphins. You know, if you're around other people, they love it. Even a smile, you know, it makes people feel good, makes us feel good. And it's a very, very simple practice, and something that could really transform our day. You know, having a giggle, it's just really important.
yeah. You know, I said to you, I'm going for a concert tonight, and actually a group of people, sadly, who are going for this concert, they are going for a funeral before the concert of the grandmother. It's like elderly lady. And I was laughing because there is going to be car picking us up, and I said it's going to be funeral car, or we're going
Yeah.
to squeeze into some kind of farming. Anyway, but yes, humor.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's absolutely
it's
essential.
essential. Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, probably maybe that's a wonderful way to celebrate this person's grandmother's death.
Mm,
To go out and
yeah.
party, and I think, you know, laughing and crying, they're very closely linked, and it's a great healer. You know,
Mm.
it's a great healer.
I always think, I don't know, we touched on it, right? But I always think, like, you know, when someone dies, like, the best possible way to honor them is not just to I mean, yes, let's do cry when we feel like it, let's grieve, let's do all that, but then in one point, let's just switch into mode, like, just fully honoring and living the best possible life we can have. And if
Yeah,
it means that you're going to dance till 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning somewhere, you know,
hallelujah.
in the club, you know, like 90s or whatever, then, you know, that's the best way you can celebrate
Yeah,
in that moment.
absolutely. I mean, life is for living, and I think, you know, for me, I can't believe that I am the age I
Mm,
am,
mm.
and yeah, sometimes it's shocking. I'm going to be getting my pension next year, and
Sweetie, it's
much as
shocking for us as well watching you. You don't look it. That's such a
but
great
much as
smile.
it's great, you know, a pension, it's also like, oh my
Mhm.
god, you know, wow, that's how did that
Yeah.
happen? How did that happen so quickly? And that's the thing. I think life goes by in the blink of an eye, and I probably a lot of older people say that. When I remember when I was younger, thinking
Mhm,
time lasts forever, you know,
mhm,
almost like I was immortal. But the
mhm.
older you get, the older you get. And you know, I think it's really important to find ways to celebrate every moment. And I know that's not always possible, and you know, and some days are really difficult.
Mhm.
But actually, it is possible to see some lightness in the dark.
You know, like, living it fully. That's what I and how I live my life, and how I like to live my life. Like, already, like, I'm only 43, but I would say, you know, I had such a rich life that, you know, God forbid if anything happens to me now, if I don't have a children, just selfishly me, of course, I don't want to go anytime soon. I want to live for a very long time. But, you know, like, selfishly, I had it all, you know, like, everything and this is what I like to encourage my clients as well, you know, living it fully. And I many times I say, you know, I want you to have the kind of life when you one day, someday, you know, we got our last day on a bed and we are looking back, which probably everybody will have that moment in one point, like when it will go like a flash, like you said, that there will be no regrets of doing or not doing something, you know, that there will be everything tried, everything, you know, all the possibilities has been used up, and we've been used up in the best possible way to live the best possible life, and also to live the best we could for others, from
leave that
what
legacy.
leave their legacy, what we had to offer.
Yeah, I think that's lovely what you said, and I'm totally with you all the way there, Lucia. Yeah, I mean, I hear people talk about their regrets.
Yeah.
And it's just such a waste, really. But it is, I think it's, you know, fear that stops us perhaps from doing those things that we once dreamed we'd be doing. You know, the ordinariness, if you like, of life kind of clicks in, and people forget that actually, you know, being alive is quite a miracle, really, isn't it?
I will go back a little bit to menopause. What was emotional part of menopause? A lot of people talking about emotional, hormonal part of it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, just feeling sort of tearful and unstable. You know, feeling like one minute I felt one thing and the next I felt another, and you know, not really liking that instability. Yeah.
And you know, like we hear about it, but it's really not easy, because life don't stop, right? You still have to go on, like get up in the morning, go to work, whatever, deal with things, challenging things, different people, and it's not written on your forehead like, excuse me, I'm going through the menopause, bear with me because I'm tearful, so if you give me a bad look, I might cry, you know. It's not written, you know. That's the thing. But then, was it because you've been emotional and you mentioned grieving, was it also that you felt like it was also a healing process because you've been able maybe to finally let go of some of the emotions that you've been
I
holding?
think it's all valid, isn't it? It was my experience, so it was what it was. But there was a mixture, obviously, of feeling grief around my relationship breakup, and the fact that, you know, my daughter, who was at the time nearly 13, she was born on my 40th, incidentally, and she's going to be 26 next April, when I'm 66.
Wow.
But it was also, you know, that suddenly we wouldn't be a family unit, that and where would she live and how would that work out, and all those things. So there was a lot going on, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It was just a lot. So it's difficult to kind of pinpoint specific things, but it was all kind of in the mix. This, and it was, and so at times it felt really overwhelming, but you know, you can only do one thing. You can always only do one thing at a time.
Yes.
So now when I feel overwhelmed by something, I become conscious, I focus on what one thing can I do now, because I can only do one thing. So it's not about all those things, just focus on the one, and then the fear kind of disappears.
I've got the same. It's, once upon a time, my coach back in the day said to me, he's like, Lucia, don't try to eat the whole elephant. It's impossible. You will shit yourself, you know. And I was like, oh, okay. Let's start with the fingernails or something. Yeah. Any regrets, Julie? Anything you would do differently?
Well, I would do things differently, perhaps, but I don't regret, because I think it's such a waste of energy. And what am I going to do with that regret? I'm just going to feel bad. I think, though, looking back, couldn't we all do something differently? You know, I mean, I you know, when I thought I wasn't enough, looking back, it would have been great if I'd had support then, but I didn't know any better, and it was what it is. So I can't change those things. It's a difficult thing, isn't it? If I could teach my younger self something, it would be to say, trust yourself. You can do this, and you know, you are enough. And that would be throughout my whole life, including my marriage breakup and menopause. And just trust yourself. You'll get through this. You know, menopause isn't forever, but it might seem like it is. It isn't.
Also, being an actress, you had to go through a lot of, that shakes your confidence, like all the auditioning, all the, I can imagine that, talking to actors, it's not easy job for the confidence of the person, like the best of times.
I think it's a very different thing. I mean, I wasn't going to auditions as such. I was working with some, doing some role play stuff in a training capacity.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it's a very different thing because, I can turn it on and be a character, but being with who I am, that's a very, very different thing. Yeah, so I'm not sure that I might, it might have been dented my confidence a bit, but in a way I could escape with playing someone else.
It was actually the other way around. I get it. So so it's probably hardest for actors to retire, because then you have to search like, who am I really?
I think that it's very different acting a role than actually obviously owning who you are. And I think there was many years where I got it all kind of excuse me confused because I thought I should be another way. And actually those parts that I was playing, they were much better than me. That's the person I should be, not who I really was, because I just didn't understand that the best part really in life is playing yourself without acting it. So I'm not sure that that's really answered your question, but that's certainly what came up for me.
The most adorable part as well, because truly,
when we try to be someone else, we're just a poor second. It's like an understudy, a bad understudy.
Bad one.
Understudy. I worked at the National Theatre in London, which is a very prestigious theatre, and I actually understudied to start with. And it was in a production, the last production that Sir Ralph Richardson ever did. He's a very famous actor. And there were some really big names in it. And I was understudying, and that was really difficult because we didn't get much rehearsal. But then I was understudying for two of the parts. One was the lead, and the other was the smaller part. And then, and actually at some point in the run, one of the actors said she wanted to go and do something else. And they let me step in and play the part. So I know the difference between, in a professional setting, between understudying and actually immersing yourself in the role and being that role. But I also now know the difference between acting myself, and we can all kind of pretend to be someone we're not, and actually being myself. And the latter is preferable and gives you so much more joy.
And there is such a fine line, because I trust you will understand this, that I had a similar to you since from the age I was a teenager. In fact, I actually hate myself watching myself on some of the old videos. My dad was filming when I was a teenager. You can see how uncomfortable I was, how I always needed to lean or hold on to something, because I didn't even know how to stand up to look cool. And it was all that era, all that time where we've been trying to find ourselves, and underneath all of that for me was I'm not enough. So I was trying to not so much be someone, because I never had like famous actors I've been inspired by, but it's just that feeling that what I was like, it was never enough. And actually I look at those photos and I'm like, bloody hell, I had the best figure, like
I
was looking actually really great. But it was the feeling inside, and that feeling inside is guiding you and running the whole show. And I remember, similar to you, only when I started being interested in well, first of all, I needed to discover I'm full of shit, and that was not nice realization. You know, when I was like,
Confronting.
I'm full of it, and it's everywhere. It sticks
Yeah,
like glue.
yeah. And
Yeah,
you can't put icing on a bit of shit and dress it up.
no,
Still shit.
it's still shit. It smells, and so that wasn't nice. But what, secondly, what inspired me? Okay, like if this is not me, then what is me? And I'm still in a search. Don't take me wrong. I'm still
Ever
discovering,
evolving.
but authenticity of it, and like being able, you know, to shake it off and to stand up and stand tall, and or not stand tall if I don't feel like it, and you know, like just being me, and you know, catching myself when it's not me and going, oh, what was that, where that come from?
Yeah.
And you know, discovering what, and it's different situations with different kind of people in different kind of relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because with some people we can be so, you know, relaxed and comfortable and sit back and just be, right? With some people we are on the edge, and it's what they are mirroring to us. It's just
It
fascinating.
is.
So
It's completely fascinating, and it's a never
mhm,
evolving thing, isn't it? And that's what's so amazing about it, that we grow into, you know, ongoingly each day, if we're willing to. When I say do the work, I mean to look for solutions and look to, you know, feel better in you know, and get what we need. You know, I think that daily we are growing into the best version of ourselves. It's not over till it's over, you know. And I think that that's I love what you said. And I think actually the whole thing about not being enough, which obviously you and I shared, um, you know, that's something that's really common, isn't it? A lot of
mhm,
people are out there are doing that, and they're covering up,
mm,
pretending that everything's all right, they've got it handled, but
yeah.
actually they really feel out of control, and yeah, just really really struggling with that.
Well, it's exhausting. What I found is exhausting to pretend
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
to be someone. And you know, like it is a lot of personal development, and I'm not saying it was easy to actually, you know, really look,
yeah,
because you see wonderful things and you see things that are not so
yeah,
wonderful, and you feel ashamed of it even.
yeah.
And then yeah, fair share of crying
Yeah, well,
involved.
I mean, talking of shame, you know, I used to I was so unhappy with who I was. I think so. What happened was my I was quite scared of my dad,
Mhm.
and I was always trying to be a good girl around him, and you know that was really compromising who I was.
Wow.
And it was really only when I did drama at school, and then amateur dramatics, and then I went to drama college, etc., and then worked professionally, that I really felt at home. I suddenly thought there was a place for me. I don't fit in anywhere else because I'm not enough. And you know, that was quite a revelation to me. But because I still had that underlying belief that I wasn't enough, then I started dieting, serial dieter. Then I became bulimic.
Mm-hmm.
I drank too much, like seriously drank too much. In fact, I left my liver in Australia. I smoked 30 cigarettes a day. I was in, you know, relationships that really weren't serving me. And they were all as a result of this, you know, deep down belief that, you know, I just wasn't enough. But actually, of course, I was more than enough, as we all are. But I just couldn't see it. And, you know, at the moment that we start to see, oh my goodness, maybe I'm not the person that I thought I was, and maybe this isn't true, this belief that I've held, then, you know, life, um, it can be completely transforming. But it is a work in progress. It is about constantly, I say constantly, but I mean daily nourishing ourselves, you know, eating food that's good. After we, you know, I love chocolate. I'm not talking about depriving ourselves, but actually predominantly nourishing ourselves, filling ourselves up with good things, good company, good food. You
Mm.
know, yeah. It's and I think anyone can overcome something if they have the desire, but you have to have the desire and the willingness to consistently take those steps every single day.
Yeah. So you as a habit fixer, okay, I'm going to ask use this time. So let's say, because I don't see actually questions. Sorry, guys, if you're sending questions, I'm going to get questions that may be on your behalf, and I'm curious as well. So if we have a habit, something that doesn't serve us, and we want to kick it, and it's overeating or it's smoking or it's drinking, I don't know, something that is like, New Year's is coming and all the resolutions, what would you from experience, not what magazines say, but like from your experience, what advice would you give to people? Like,
I think the important thing is to acknowledge the habit. And, some people talk about they've got good habits or they've got bad habits. I don't think that is at all useful, because if we think we have a bad habit, then we'll think we're bad. Habits are obviously a pattern, an action that we take over and over and over, a thought that we have that then becomes a habit. So it's something that we do over and over again, and it becomes a habit. And it's looking at, rather than is it good or bad, looking at, does it serve you? What's the cost of that habit? Without beating ourselves up about it. And then the thing is that it's all programming. All it is that the brain has got hold of something, and it's become a program. And if you have a computer and you put in the same software, you're going to get the same outcome every single time without fail. So what happens is, fortunately, the brain can learn to do something, and you do it enough times and it'll learn to do that thing. Like, for instance, walking, which, wouldn't that be terrible if we had to learn to walk every single day? That's
morning.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's stored as a program. Okay. And that's what happens with our habits, whether it's, we're smoking, and we smoke enough times that then the brain thinks we're a smoker, and then it wants us to smoke. And because the brain likes to be right about everything, you have to work with it. So you can't actually change a habit that you've got, because that's already programmed in. But you can focus on a new habit that's going to serve you better.
So can you give example, like how did you kick the smoking habit? Like,
so, well, for me, I mean, I tried giving up smoking so many times, it was a nightmare. And I ended up, I think, I'll finish this packet of cigarettes, and I'm going to stop on a Monday. It has to be a Monday. Yes. And then I would, so I'd smoke all the cigarettes, and then I'd give up on the Monday, and I'd put them in the, I'd have to finish the cigarettes. If I hadn't, I might, and I hadn't emptied ashtrays, I would then, not long later, be rooting around in the ashtrays, in the bins, revolting, getting something out so I could just have a fix. That it wasn't just the physical addiction to the nicotine, it was also the the action of that and this thing in my head that said that I had to have it, that I was going to feel better, that so it was just a program that was running over and over and over. So so even though I tried to give up many times and it didn't work because I kept focusing on, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette, I need a cigarette, rather than looking at, well, what is it that I really need? Because I think most people know, even though my daughter's a smoker and she will defend smoking vehemently, and she's fairly fit, she's very fit. Granny's been living for 120 years, and Granny smoked every day since she was one. So she actually she's still going, so that all this evidence, so-called, about it. And that's what we do as smokers or drinkers, often trying to defend the thing. So until I realized the impact, I mean, I literally couldn't laugh without coughing. Like, this isn't good. This is not good. And I originally started smoking because everyone else was, but also so I didn't need to eat, so I wouldn't eat as much. It
went well with your diet.
It really did. But actually the impact was awful. And I then started looking at, what do I actually need? And I needed to nourish myself, to begin to nourish myself. And even though that was a challenging thing, because it was a new habit, and my brain goes, no, I know better. You're a smoker. Don't think that,
Just have a
what you're
cigarette,
doing.
yeah.
I'm in, yeah. So eventually, by consistently finding ways to nourish myself, I overcame that old habit with new practices, which became habits.
So let's say for people, right? And they ask, okay, great, I understand this theory. I tried it. Someone once said to me, oh, well, it's easy to give up smoking. I tried it so many times. No. And what I guess the question would be, okay, replace it with new habits. So what is it like? Because people
So
here will ask me probably what you, because if cigarettes for someone or anything, we are talking about habits that don't serve you, not bad habits, habits that don't serve you. I'm listening. If you know the your thing is going in the fridge and eat everything what is in there,
yeah,
and it's
that's just replacing another habit, isn't it? That's just
replacing another habit. So what you go, you go to the other side of the house and where only apples are, or what is it like? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a house of apples. I've got some apples, but so it's really about, well, initially it's looking at, often there are habitual habits in terms of smoking time. So it might be someone has a cigarette as soon as they get up, or they have a cigarette after a meal. So they have ones that
certain times.
so that they regularly have, that they associate with a meal or something.
With food as well.
Yeah, it could be any habit. Okay, and there are other habits that happen just randomly. So someone, say for instance smoking, someone offers this person an extra cigarette and they go, oh yeah, why not? And they take the cigarette, they smoke it. So there are the habits around the routine of smoking. So so when those times come up, it's looking at what can you replace that with. So if someone, our environment has a huge impact on the habit. So if you've got cigarettes on the countertop and they're right in front of you, all you can see is cigarettes, Whereas if you get the cigarettes out of the house, and if you change things around, so how we wake up and maybe we go and get our, cup of whatever in our favorite cup, we do it in the same, you don't even think about doing it. Yeah, we've all got a favorite cup, haven't we? And if we change where the kettle is, if we change our environment, if we stop going, kind of, we can change our environment outside and in. We can tell people that actually, you know what, I'm a non-smoker, or I don't want to do that anymore, or whatever. But if we also, ask our friends to keep us accountable. So, say, if you see me, if I ask you for a cigarette, will you promise me that you won't give me one?
Yeah.
No matter how much I protest. Yeah. That's another way of helping myself.
Another thing is to have like kind of positive thing. Like if you see people smoking and say, thank God I don't have to do this again. Thank God I don't have to smell this way, or thank God I don't have I lost some weight, or I don't feel like, because one thing that many of my clients say, like, I can be healthy and eat healthy during the day, in the morning, I even exercise, but it comes to, evening, and I feel like I deserve something because I worked so hard, and it's quiet and it's evening and I'm bored finally, I finally settle myself, and then I scoff everything off the fridge. Like, how to get rid of this habit, what would you say to
I
them?
love that you said that, talking about reward, because it is quite a thing for us. I mean, I don't know about you, but when, if I fell over as a child, my mum would give me a sweetie. So, actually, but we can choose to reward ourselves in different ways that are more nourishing. It might be, that we take it, and this might not be exciting to some people, but, taking a bubble bath with candles and taking time for you instead of going to have that cigarette, or but I think it's really important to look at the impact of what we're doing. What does the smoking or the drinking or the being in relationships that don't work, or having a shopping habit, or having a sex habit, or having an exercise habit which looks really good because you're very fit and but actually it's exactly the same thing. It's driven from the same place.
Yes.
What is the impact of that thing, that compulsive
Mm-hmm.
behavior? What is the impact? How does that affect your life? How does it make you feel? And looking at that, and then focusing on, well, okay, what do I really need? So we have
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
needs, and our feelings are like flags. They flag up a need underneath. So if we're feeling angry, for instance, it's because we've got a need that's not being met. When we can ask ourselves, what is it I'm actually needing?
Yes.
Then we can find
Yes.
a way to meet it. But we need to be curious about that, really.
Yes. Yes. And that's actually very, very good, because I do believe that all these habits that are not serving us, we are totally trying to subconsciously replace the void that we have. And that may be, I don't know, lack of sex, or love, or
Yeah.
connection, or
Certainly lack of self-love, isn't it?
yeah.
Because we all, even though my daughter might defend smoking, she knows it's not really good for her.
Yeah.
It's not
Deep
rocket
inside.
science. Most people, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we get so, there are benefits with smoking, as in, you get the smoke screen. I remember when I gave up smoking, suddenly realizing I've got hands. Like, oh my God, like suddenly I didn't know what to do with my hands. I felt uncomfortable, and the other thing I think to say about food is that we need food. So that's kind of a tricky one. If it's a Coke habit, then you don't have to mix with people that take Coke. But actually, you've got to go to the supermarket, well, maybe, or your local store. You've got to get food. We need to have food. So, but it's often a way to numb the feeling that we cannot handle. We have the cigarette or the food or something before we get to feel the emptiness of I'm not good enough, or whatever our thing is.
It's literally numbing ourselves, because I had some problems with overeating, and it was in the evening times. And I remember, like, it was literally numbing myself, because when I ate so much, like, I scoffed myself, and I was really mixing like that with that with that with that. It's like I didn't even feel the taste anymore. It was just like that. And it numbs you, because eventually your brain completely switches off, because all your blood is in your stomach, and it gives you almost that feeling like you're like unconscious almost. And then it makes you fall asleep, and then you can fall asleep because it doesn't have to make you think. And it's all these connections, and it's almost like it is a drug in a way. Doing it this way.
It's an anesthetic, isn't it? That's the thing. And you know what, when I was bulimic, I tell you, I did this thing, and this is, I actually want I come back from traveling the world, and as I say, left my liver in Australia, and my stepbrother said to me, I've got a box of flakes underneath my bed, help yourself. So I did. I had 21. Do you know what a flake is? A flake is like a chocolate bar, but it's like aerated chocolate. It's all very crumbly. It's absolutely delicious. Anyway, one's enough, or maybe a couple, but actually I had 21. And I didn't even taste it. It was just get it in, and the shame of it. There's also times when I was using X-Lax because I was, it's just.
You wouldn't do it with someone next to you, let's put it that way. Yeah, you have to do it in secret, otherwise 21, but I get you, Julie. And I believe a lot of people who are going to be watching this are going to be like, oh my God, that's me. Not flakes, but it will be something else. But do you know what is interesting? What I found as well, that a lot of women and my friends and people who follow me as well, so that's why I'm saying this, are these very successful, determined, driven people, very, very smart. And do you know what is our pitfall?
Right.
That when we do something, we do it intensely. if it's exercise, we exercise intensely. And if it's a smoking, we smoke intensely. You know what I mean? And if it, at least that's me, you know, when I do it properly or not at all.
Yeah,
No, I'm not, now I'm older, is not so much true. But I know it's still in there, you know. Now I can exercise for more for joy and not to completely write myself off. But old me would go till the very end, you know, like so it is something we can tame down, but it's the most important thing is to be aware of it, because
yeah.
you know
And
I
getting the cost of it, the
getting
cost of
the
that
cost,
way of behaving. There's always a cost, and there's always a payoff. But I think you know, it's really about, I don't know about moderation, but it's really about balance. I know that life goes out of balance
yeah,
often, but it's
yes,
really about restoring balance so that as much as we can. But I don't
yes,
believe in denying anyone anything. You know, the more we deny ourselves something, the more the brain's going to, don't you tell me what to do. You know, it's
exactly,
really,
yeah,
really important that, you know, I love chocolate. I eat
mm,
chocolate practically every day, but I eat it consciously.
yes,
It's about conscious awareness. When I'm conscious of what I'm doing, and I'm conscious of how I feel about what I'm doing, and I'm not beating myself up, you
mm,
know, I can do what I want to do. And I think that people think that they're going to have to give up chocolate, or they're going to have to give up this or that, but actually we don't have to. It's about just finding a new way.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. New way, more kind of kinder way, because
Okay, definitely.
it's not just about what you're doing in that moment, because some things are great idea and they become not such a great ideas later, and it's like, how does it make me feel afterwards? You
Yeah,
know, I know if I eat the bowl of delicious salad with the fresh food, and afterwards it makes me feel alive. That's my guidance for food.
yeah,
Or try, I'm still learning, but I'm trying it to be, you know, I eat things like that make me feel alive, rather than doing, saying, or eating or thinking things that makes me feel numb. Yeah,
yeah. And sometimes we don't want to feel alive, we just want
sometimes
to do the
we don't
thing
want to feel alive.
and think,
That's a
fuck
good
it,
point.
you know, I'm just going to
Yes,
do it. and
yes,
and that's,
and
and the thing is that once we've done it, like for instance, if someone gives up smoking and then they have a cigarette,
yeah,
often what they do is they go, oh, that's it now, I'm a smoker. No, you've had one
yeah,
cigarette and they can recommit to the thing,
yeah,
you know. It's really fun. It's
yeah,
about grace,
yeah.
isn't it? And yeah, so I think that's really, really important. And yeah, I mean, we're just human. We're just human. We're dealing with this machinery that wants to do what it's always done, you know. So we're going to be challenged by that. And often, I think sometimes maybe we can start to get what we might call back on track. You know, we're exercising
Yes,
with it. The
yes,
moment it seems really good, everything's going really well, that's the time when the brain might sabotage and go,
yeah.
oh, like, you know, you think you're in charge. No, no, I am. So it's about watching out for
Get
that and just,
complacent.
yeah, and not fighting that part of us, but actually working with it. If we don't work with our
Mm-hmm.
brain, it's going to do what it does.
Mm. It's such a good point. You know, I love how this whole talk, and we are like 1 hour in, can you believe it? How, and your battery is still I love how this talk kind of went fluidly from, you know, talking about menopause and then like swinging towards the habits, and but it's all so connected,
Yeah.
you know, like really, like it's all so connected. And I think one of the greatest skills, and I've got much more of it than I had when I was younger. So I guess, you know, when I'm gracing one day, someday towards the menopause, fingers crossed I will have even more of it, was letting go. And it proves to me again and again and again, you know, like this only goes with time. You know, it's not possible to get it, you know, in instantly, or you know, like press the button, or it doesn't work like that. And I love how you said, like, you know, we don't need to feel alive all the time, even like we don't need to feel like conscious eating all the time. But for me personally, if I have like 80-20, that's well good enough for me in terms of consciousness, in terms of aliveness. I don't mind feeling just whatever, you know, even like sometimes having a fuck it day is great thing, you
It's
know,
about
like
owning it, isn't
it's
it? It's about
about
owning all
owning
of
it.
it, all of it. And the other thing to remember is, for those people that have children, you're role modeling to your children all the time.
Yes.
If you put yourself at the bottom of the list, what are they going to think?
Yes.
Mummy's not important.
Yes.
You know, and they will probably grow up doing exactly the same thing, you know.
Or vice versa. Mrs. Perfect, you know, I already.
My God.
Not good.
Yeah. No.
Not good. Not good.
Good. Not good. It's about being real and yeah, discovering what your real is, your authentic self, and that takes time and patience, and it's well worth it.
It's well worth it. And
Yeah.
you know, I maybe finish with one little before we finish. Other day my friend came and she brought this chocolate, very nice gift for my kids, like actual pencils, but they've been made out of Belgian chocolates and they've been delicious. And hands up, I must admit, like, I put my kids to sleep and there've been two left, two of those pencils left. And I still remember one was there, and my brain, you know, I really, really wanted chocolate, right? And it's terrible when you're with kids because you have to have some chocolate for your kids. So there's always a chocolate in the house. And there been those two pencils, like smiling, looking at me. I just couldn't resist. And while my kids been sleeping, I ate that chocolates. And they woke up. And I was thinking, nah, they're not going to remember. There was two left. And they woke up and said, Mommy, it's like, where is our chocolate? And I was like, what? It's gone. You eat them all. No, there was one here and one there. They exactly remembered positions of those pencils and everything. And do you know what, Julie? I was real. I sat down on the lap and I really actually genuinely, you know, dropped a tear because of my greediness, because of my, you know, I felt regretful. And my kids acted absolutely wonderfully. And they said to me, oh, Mommy, don't cry. But next time you are not going to do it, will you?
I love
and
that.
I said, no, honey, I will leave it for you, but I'm genuinely very sorry. And they do the same. But yes, we are total. And one more last question, Julie, may I?
Yeah, because my battery's just about to run out.
Is it flicking?
Yeah.
My girls, a lot of times, my fertility girls are asking, oh my God, having a children around 40. That's what you've been, right? 40.
I had her on my 40th birthday. I thought I was going to get a party, Lucia, but no, I got a baby.
that was a good one. But, you know, like, what would you say? How is it to be mom at 40? How was it?
I guess nowadays it's not as old, is it, as some people having them. I think for me, the confronting thing was that I knew how to practically deal with a baby. I didn't understand women who would say, oh, I didn't manage to get dressed today. And forgive me if there are people watching that didn't manage to get dressed today, but I just didn't understand that because I could do that. Mm-hmm. But what I struggle with a little bit was, God, who am I now? I've lived my life till I'm 40 thinking I'm this person, and now I'm not sure who I am. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. But one thing I just want to say, because I'm just about to run out of power, is that it's really, really important to think about outside and in. You know, there's a synergy between outside of our body and inside of our body, and nourishing all of it is really what works. And the key to a happy life, as far as I'm concerned, is self-care. Yeah. And that's my body and skin, and that's what I obviously do with my clients. Beautiful. And finding the balance in all of it. Yeah. Because life is dynamic and it's turmoil and we are changing and our partners are changing and situations and weather and, you know, and finding some kind of balance and satisfaction, peace.
in all of it. Julie, thank you so much. I really want to finish before it will cut us off. We learned a lot. If you have any questions, send to us in the comments. Let us know what you learned, what did you get from our streaming. Julie, thank you so much for your time.
Absolute pleasure. Shame that I'm on my side still, so I don't know where my eyeliner is at all. But thank you so much for inviting me, Lucia. And yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you. Thank you. We will do it again, and we will do it sometime soon. Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I'm off to party. Julie, bye. Thank you.